All right. It's a Pokemon video today too for you guys. This is my Johto lineup. You know, who do I have in reserve and who do I have on my team? I'll be going down through the list. All right. I'll be honest. This region didn't have that many Pokemon that I like, but I know it's like if I was in Pokemon and I was in Johto, I'd still have to do something if I ever hope to win against gym leaders and win against um the fucking Elite Four and all that. And this is what I'd have and what I'd want on my team. You know, my team and in reserve. We'll get the reserve Pokemon out of the way first. So the first Pokemon I have in reserve is and this ain't actually in any particular order. They're just in the reserve. They're not on my team. I ain't carrying them around with me. I'll pull them out as needed. Um, but I got Umbreon, a dark type Pokemon. Umbreon is one of the EV evolutions, and I like EV evolutions. Not all of them, but it's a dark type. It has certain moves. It can use Crunch. I think so. That's a move that it can use. And that move's decent, but it's like not super powerful, right? And I don't think it has great defense either. But Umbreon and I got Espeon as well. Both the EVs from that region. You know, Espeon's the psychic version of EV, so I have her on the team too, or whatever it is, right? Confusion can be put on that, and I like that about the psychic Pokemon. Confusion, sleepness, turn these Pokemon drowsy. The shit. I can pull another Pokemon out, and that Pokemon can whoop some ass really quick. Um, then I got Slowking. Slowking, is an evolved version of Slowbro. He is a psychic water type. So I could use confusion, and then I can also have water gun. That move attached to it. It's just a funny thing, when it works, right? Pokemon fell asleep. Boom. Use it again. Pokemon's asleep. Boom. But it only works so often, and certain Pokemon can't be put to sleep. But I'll have him in reserve. These are my reserve Pokemon right now. I have Scizor as a reserve Pokemon, Bug Metal type. I know the cutting abilities of this Pokemon is pretty dastardly. If I put cut on this Pokemon, it will do some fucking damage. X Scizor, is a move that this Pokemon uses. That causes damage. But I got him on the reserve squad. I also have another Pokemon like him in Heracross. He's a bug fighting type. I got Heracross in the reserve for the Johto region. He can use, I think he can use like Earthquake too, or goddamn, he can use. He can use certain moves. I think he can use like Mudslide or some shit like that. These moves that he can use are, powerful. He's also, kind of a tank too. But I have him on the reserve squad. I got Sneasel, a dark ice type. I think this guy, I can increase his agility and he can, dodge moves and shit, right? But, that only works so long. But he's a dark and ice type, slashing attacks. I'm trying to remember, I could attach slash to that, I think. Um, dark and ice type. I got him on my reserve team. Another Pokemon I got on my reserve team is Magcargo. He's a fire and rock type Pokemon. He's that snailish type of Pokemon. The rock is like his shell, and then he's like, magma lava, right? This guy, I put Ember on him. I think I can put Rollout on this guy, possibly. Those two moves do damage. I know Ember does do damage. I like having that attached to any of my fire types. Flamethrower. Then I got another one on my list. This Pokemon's called, I think it's called Scar Skarmory. Skarmory. Skarmory is a steel flying type Pokemon. Now, steel flying type, I was gonna put this guy on the main team because flying types are needed sometimes, right, to get around in the region. But then I'm like, he'll be in reserve. I can just go catch him. I can swap him out with one of my team members, and then he can fly me wherever the fuck I need to go, right? Steel type. And I think when I looked at, because I did a little bit of research on this Pokemon, but not too much. The only things that he's weak to, like as far as like opposite Pokemon, is fire and lightning types, and then everything else is he's alright with. But I got Hitmontop next. I got Hitmontop over the other Pokemon. I don't remember his name, but I like Hitmontop. You know, I just like the way this guy looks, and I know he can stay in the fight. If I'm like playing games, I don't know, there's a weak ass Pokemon, and I just want to see him, fuck somebody up. I can throw him out there, and I know he'll get the job done. That kind of thing. But he ain't on my main team. Then I got Donphan. Donphan, the ground Pokemon. He's an elephant. I think he can use rollout, right? He's a ground type Pokemon. I think he can use slap too. Yeah, he's gonna be fucking people up with that move. But here's my six that I keep on my team. Six Pokeballs. Boom, boom, boom. So I got Typhlosion. That's the starter that I choose from Johto. I don't care about the other two. I got Typhlosion. Easily evolved. You know, third stage. Final stage of that Pokemon Cyndaquil, right? And I'll keep him on my team. He'll be one of my tougher Pokemon. I think he can use Flame Wheel too. Ember, Flamethrower. I have all those moves attached to him. And maybe like Slap or Slash or something like that, like a normal move. But it'll still like do damage to people. But not like the greatest defense, I don't think. But it's all right because I got some other people on the list. My next Pokemon I keep on the team is Ampharos. He's like I don't know if he's like a kangaroo or a giraffe, but he's a lightning type or electric based Pokemon. Thunderbolt, Thundershock, those kind of moves. I'll just put another like normal type move, like bite or slap on there. I got him on the list for my team. Then I also got Steelix. Steelix is the third Pokemon I have on the team. Steelix is an evolved form of Onyx, right? This guy, he's a tank. I can use the move. I don't remember what the move's called, but you know, um, put more steel lacquer on that bitch, and he's like a tank. Whatever move that's called that upgrades the defense. I'll use that like for a couple turns, boom, 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 and then I'll use um, rock throw. I think he can use, or yeah, he has some moves that I just don't remember. He'll be fucking people up, and he's a tank, so I like that. I have I have Ursaring on the list. All right. So if you remember Pokemon, the anime, I remember what he did to Pikachu. He whooped that ass. And this ain't no regular Pikachu. This is Ash's Pikachu that everybody likes, right? He got beat down by Ursaring. Boom! Hammer arm, I think is the move that's called. Boom! And got his ass out of there. You know, that's the shit that sold me on Ursaring. He's a normal type Pokemon. He's basically like a brown bear, Kodiak bear, but has extra, strength. And fifth Pokemon I have on my list is Houndoom. Dark Fire type. Flamethrower. I think I can put Dark Crunch on this one. Boom. Fire Fang. Also, that Pokemon could get burnt from like an attack like that. This Pokemon is now burnt. After effects and shit like that, right? I have Houndoom on my squad. And then the last Pokemon is Tyranitar, a rock dark type. This Pokemon can use Earthquake. I love Earthquake. Especially if I have a move where I can, drop the other person's defense, drop its defense for a while, and then hit it with Earthquake. Boom! That shit's all the way down in the like low yellow and almost in the red, or already in the red. Boom! Another Earthquake and it's gone. I love that fucking move, and I'll attach that shit to Tyranitar. Maybe Crunch and like Slap or Punch. One of those punch moves. Yeah, and he's fucking shit up for real. And those are my, that's my Johto lineup for you guys. In another 3 weeks, I'll get you my Hoenn lineup, and I'm excited for that one because I remember some Pokemon from there. But be cool, call in the corner and let me know what you think about this Hoenn lineup, or not this Hoenn lineup. God damn it, Johto lineup. Hoenn's gonna be in 3 weeks. But be cool, call in the corner.